Hello and welcome to the Sleepy Atomist. I'm so glad you've arrived. Whether you're curled up in bed beneath soft covers, stretched out across a quiet couch with the last traces of daylight slipping away, or simply letting your thoughts slow down after a long day, this space is made for you. Tonight we're beginning a journey through one of the universe's most powerful and poetic events, the birth of a black hole. It may sound dramatic, I know, but here nothing rushes. Our path is gentle, like a feather drifting through the night. I've shaped this story to be as calming as possible. Still, there's always a chance it might stir more wonder than sleep. And if it does, if curiosity keeps you floating just a little longer, then you'll drift off a little wiser. If you're enjoying this gentle beginning, feel free to give the video a soft like, or even subscribe for more peaceful science. I'd also love to know where in the world you're listening from, and what time it is for you right now. Each comment lights up the night sky with a new little star. And as always, this story is just for rest and reflection. It's not medical advice. So for now, let your breath slow, let your thoughts grow quiet, let your eyes grow soft. The night opens its vast, starlit eyes, and so do you. You lie beneath a sky that only looks black from a distance. In truth, it's full of ancient light. Gentle pulses from stars near and far shimmer across the silence like notes in a sleeping song. Some of those stars are just beginning to burn, others are slowly dimming, and a few, rare and immense, are preparing to become something else entirely. There's no urgency. Out here, time flows wide and slow. You drift upward in thought, rising beyond rooftops and trees, past clouds and satellites, until the earth itself becomes a soft, glowing marble below you. The hush of space wraps around you. You turn toward the stars. They stretch across the darkness like velvet, and among them, one begins to draw your focus. It's not the closest, not the brightest, but it is old, and it is massive, far larger than our sun, a true giant. This star has lived for millions of years, powered by a quiet battle between two forces, gravity pulling inward, always trying to collapse the star, and fusion pushing outward, born from the heat of its core, where atoms merge to create something new. Inhale, exhale. That's what this is, a quiet rhythm of light and pressure, holding its shape through the patient logic of physics. You float closer, not in body, but in your attention. The giant star fills your awareness. Its light is strong but soft. It bathes you in warmth, though you feel no heat. This is a place for stillness, not contact. You begin to notice its layers, like the rings of a tree or the petals of a vast flower. The outer shells glow with hydrogen, the simplest and oldest element in the cosmos. Deeper in, you find helium, carbon, neon, each one forged from the layer before, but at the very center, something has changed. There is iron now, and iron is a sign. It is the last element this star can make through fusion. Anything heavier would take more energy than it gives. The star has reached the edge of what it can become, and so it begins to fade, not in brightness, but in breath. You linger here, suspended in the still moment before transformation. The star shines on, its shape still holds, but the balance that once kept it alive is beginning to shift, and in this place of quiet gravity you feel it too, the gentle truth that even the greatest things must one day let go. The star is not ending in sadness, it is completing its offering. Its last light will become the beginning of something new. From Earth, no one would notice, but here beside it, you feel the tension gathering. The balance that once held firm begins to tip. The core starts to collapse, not with fire, not with sound, but with a stillness more complete than silence. Gravity folds inward. The star begins to change. You don't chase it, there's no need. The transformation will unfold on its own time, not in seconds, but in deep cosmic rhythms. You feel yourself swaying gently now, like a small boat rocked by invisible waves, letting go of your own weight, letting your thoughts drift like stardust. The star is preparing, not for death but for a threshold, a passage into something unseen, but it hasn't reached it yet. It is only beginning. And tomorrow will go deeper, into the fire at its center, into the slow pressure where elements are made, and into the heart of something impossibly heavy. But for now, you remain here beside it, breathing slowly, watching the first exhale of a star nearing its end. You return to the same quiet orbit just beneath the velvet ceiling of space. The star still holds its shape, not yet collapsed. It lingers in its final, luminous chapter. You float again in thought, far from Earth. Quiet in your breath, you inhale slowly, hold, and exhale. Imagine the star doing the same. Its breath, too, has rhythm, though you cannot hear it. Inside its body, fusion is still happening. Lighter elements become heavier ones. That fusion releases energy, pushing outward against the inward pull of gravity. The balance continues, but it grows more delicate with each passing moment. The star's life has always been a kind of truce. The outer layers want to fall in. The core holds them back, and for millions of years it works. You can think of the star like a lantern glowing above a dark sea. Its light is steady, not frantic, not flickering. It simply shines. Its fuel is hydrogen, drawn into the core and fused into helium. That process releases heat, and heat becomes light. Even now you feel its glow, not hot, but humming, a golden awareness. But hydrogen doesn't last forever, and as it runs low, the star begins to adapt. The helium that's built up becomes the new fuel. It fuses into carbon and oxygen. The star swells. It becomes a red supergiant. You've likely heard the term before, but now you see it. The outer shell expands, puffing out like the petals of a flower too large for its own stem. If this star replaced our sun, its edge would reach past Mars. Yet for all its size, it is delicate, a glowing bubble stretched thin. Beneath that gentleness, the core becomes something else. It fuses heavier and heavier elements, carbon into neon, neon into magnesium, magnesium into silicon. Each layer forms a shell inside the star, like the layers of an onion made of fire. The deeper the layer, the heavier the element, and the faster it burns. What once took millions of years now unfolds in thousands, then hundreds, then days. And finally, in the very center, iron. You pause. Iron is different. It cannot be fused into something heavier without consuming energy instead of releasing it. It is the end of the chain. Imagine trying to fuel a fire with stone. No matter how hot the flame, it will not catch. The core is now filled with iron, atom by atom. Not cold in temperature, but cold in what it means. Fusion stops, and with nothing left to push outward, gravity begins to win. You listen, not with your ears, but with your being. The star still shines, but its balance is crumbling, and something in you recognizes the feeling, the quiet way that pressure can build inside, unnoticed by those outside. The star does not resist. It does not weep. It simply continues. You stay with it, suspended in space, watching its glow shimmer like a secret. Nothing looks different yet, but something ancient has begun to lean toward change. Perhaps that's the most poetic truth of all. Stars die slowly until they don't. No one moment announces the collapse. But it's near. You close your eyes for a breath. You imagine standing in a dark field, the cool earth beneath your feet, the hush of wind and trees. Above you, stars glimmer. One flickers faintly, not enough to notice, but that flicker is a breath catching. One last steady rhythm, and the next exhale will not be made of light. The hush grows deeper now. Not absence, but readiness. Like the moment before a wave crests. The moment before a dream begins, the iron core presses in. The outer layers still burn, but the center is falling into itself. You remain floating still, holding quiet witness. The star is a cathedral now, of light and heat and time, and even as it begins to break, it is beautiful. It has spent its whole life fusing the breath of the universe into something more, and now it must let go. You don't need to know what happens next. Not yet. Let that mystery rest gently on your chest. The next chapter will arrive soon, fast, silent, complete. But tonight stay here beside this star with a heavy heart, holding its shape just a little longer. Iron does not give light when it fuses and offers no warmth in return. It is the end of the road, a wall the star cannot pass, no matter how much heat it throws at it, no matter how deep its furnace burns. No more energy can be made from iron, and so the core cools just slightly, just enough for gravity to tip the balance that has held for millions of years. And still, you remain beside it, hovering in silence near the heart of this great star, watching the last soft glow of a furnace that has burned long and faithfully. And what you see is not failure, not collapse, not defeat, but completion, a kind of celestial closing, because this star has built everything it can. And what it built, helium and carbon and oxygen and silicon, are not just waste or ash. They are the seeds of everything to come. They are the dust of future planets and bodies and oceans and breath. And so you are not outside this story, you are part of it. The calcium in your bones, the iron in your blood, the oxygen that moves with every breath, all of it once lived in stars like this one. And this is not destruction, it is return, it is release. And so you float with that truth a while, letting it settle through you like dust in water. The furnace still glows, but the iron core grows heavy, and around it, layers burn faster and faster, racing through their final stages, while the outer shell still shines, calm and red, stretched wide across the sky. But below that peaceful surface the foundation is shifting, and it is not fear that fills the star now, it is anticipation, the sense that something irreversible is approaching, a sudden release that will briefly make this one star outshine an entire galaxy. And yet here in this moment, the core still glows. It is not finished, there is one more breath, one more flicker, and then darkness, not as an end, but as the beginning of something new, a silence where light once lived, a silence filled with change. And in that moment something deep within gives, and you return now to the very core we've been drifting near, that brilliant, layered furnace at the heart of the star. And you remember its fire, its patience, the way it forged the universe element by element with the slow rhythm of fusion. But now, that fire flickers. The iron at its center has become too heavy, and the balance too delicate. So delicate no eye can see it shift, but shift it does. The core can no longer support its own weight, and the collapse begins, not with flame, not with sound, but with surrender, a sudden inward plunge, a giving way that is absolute. And you hover now beside the iron core and watch, as in the space of a second it falls. The atoms that once resisted now fold inward, falling faster and faster, until the space between them disappears, and the core shrinks from the size of Earth to something no wider than a city. The collapse is swift, breathtaking, not chaotic but precise, and as the pressure builds, electrons are forced into protons, and new particles are born, neutrons, dense, compact, and strange, and matter becomes a new kind of fluid, unimaginably dense. A neutron star tries to form, but this star is too massive for that, and the pressure keeps rising until, finally, the collapse of the inner core stops, but the outer layers are still falling inward, and they slam into the dense core like oceans crashing into rock. And in that moment, the star rebounds, and a shockwave bursts outward from the center, rippling through the star's body like thunder moving through mountains. This is the beginning of the supernova, a wave of energy that begins not in fire, but in impact, and you float within this unfolding, not rushing, not afraid, watching physics move faster than time, faster than light, yet still with grace. And you may wonder how something so vast can collapse so quickly. And the answer is mass, not size, because this star is not hollow. It is dense all the way through, its outer layers light and wide, but its core impossibly heavy, like a stack of blankets pressing themselves flat, no softness left, only weight and gravity, constant, patient, relentless, finally wins, and as the core collapses, space begins to bend, not in metaphor, but in truth. Gravity curves space-time itself, and you drift now at the edge of this curve, and something strange happens. Time begins to stretch, to slow, and to a distant observer, everything near the collapsing star begins to freeze, not figuratively but literally, and you are approaching a place where time and space no longer behave as separate things, where before and after begin to lose meaning, and the star's outer layers are still rushing inward, but inside, the collapse continues, and you are floating near what will become the singularity, the point of no surface, no volume, only gravity, where all mass is crushed into a region smaller than anything you can imagine. And still, there is silence, stillness, not chaos, but focus, because even now, no light escapes. Not because it is dark, but because space itself is curving back on itself, and light trying to escape finds only the loop of gravity, bending it inward again, like a river caught in its own spiral, and you do not fall in, you simply remain, close enough to feel its mystery, far enough to stay whole, because here, a boundary is forming, the edge of the unreturnable, the event horizon, and it is not yet fully born, but you feel it coming, as the shock wave begins to rise, and energy stored over millions of years prepares to be released in a single breath. The outer layers begin to shake, but there is still no sound, because space has no air, and this is a silent storm, a calm eruption, and your heart slows, not from fear, but from awe, because what you are witnessing is not destruction, it is order, it is precision, the rules of the universe fulfilling themselves with patient resolve. Nothing wasted, nothing sudden, only gravity giving form to something new. And you remain floating, suspended in the final seconds before the supernova, feeling the tension build, like the moment before thunder when you've already seen the flash. And just before the moment arrives, you let it linger. Let that final beat stay folded, just out of reach, and drift instead with the weight of the star as it surrenders not in collapse but in creation. Not unreachable, just beyond what we know how to hold. You might imagine it like this: a place where space and time are not pulled down but folded inward, like silk drawn into a spiral so tight the center vanishes from view. You're not alone in your wondering. For decades, physicists have asked the same quiet question: what truly lies beyond that edge? Some believe the rules of nature fall apart there. Others think black holes carry the memory of everything they consume. A few imagine they lead to somewhere else entirely. But none of that matters here, not now. Because in this moment, you are simply drifting near the boundary, not trying to solve, only listening, only watching, letting the silence explain what equations cannot. Black holes are not rare, not monsters. They are part of the universe's quiet rhythm, like tides, like breath, like sleep. This one, born from a dying giant, now weighs more than the sun and yet fits into no space you can touch. It will endure. You breathe with it. Its presence shapes space like a stone laid in a silent pool. But unlike a stone, it does not rest, it bends, it draws, even time is curved. If you watched a clock fall in, you'd see it slow and slow until its final tick paused at the edge. Not because time ends, but because near a black hole time stretches. You feel it now, each second lasts longer. Your breath deepens with it, not slowed by sleep but by the pull of warp spacetime. It's peaceful here, strange too, because from where you are everything is still. The black hole doesn't reach out, it doesn't grab, it simply exists, waiting. You wonder how something so powerful could be so quiet. A black hole is not violent by nature. It's only dangerous if you cross its line. From here, it's just part of the landscape, an invisible sun that emits no light yet sculpts the paths of everything near it. You might be curious what happens if you move closer, but not yet. Stay here a while longer. Let the gravity curl your thoughts softly inward. Let the mystery move through your breath. There's something profound about being so near a place where questions no longer end in answers. Not because they're hard, but because they vanish into silence. And yet, black holes might not last forever. In unimaginable time, far beyond your life or the life of Earth, they may disappear, quietly, softly, radiating away piece by piece. But that is for another night. Tonight, we rest here at the edge. Where fire once burned, there is now absence, a curved silence in the shape of a sphere. And somehow, it is not frightening. It is calm. The star has ended. It let go of everything it was and in. Doing so became something that holds the universe in new ways. You drift quietly beside it. Not thinking, not even wondering, just present. The light is gone. But the story is still unfolding. Somewhere just beyond your vision, the boundary waits. Always still, always turning. You wonder again, what lies just past that edge? What begins where everything else ends? Stay with me here a little longer. Not in space exactly, but in this quiet place in thought, where time and gravity unfold like poems. You're hovering now at the very edge, the event horizon. It's a phrase you've probably heard. It sounds sharp, like a wall or a trap or a warning, but it isn't. Not really. The event horizon is not a crash point. It's a line, a gentle one, drawn in the fabric of space itself, a border that doesn't announce itself unless you're looking from just the right distance. From where you are now, it's calm. No drama, no sound, no shimmering barrier, just dark. Pure dark. Not because it's empty, but because light, even light, cannot climb out once it passes that line. You float just outside it, safe, still, watching, and something begins to shift, not in the black hole, but in time itself. As you look closer, you see time stretch. You see it slow. If a clock were falling toward the black hole, its hands would tick slower and slower, until, at the edge, they appear to stop. But for the clock, for the falling thing, nothing strange would happen. It would feel normal. Time would pass as always. But to you, watching from here, it would seem frozen, as if the clock had stopped forever at the edge. You hold on to that thought. How strange it is that time is not fixed, not shared, not absolute, that it bends, stretches, reshapes depending on where you are, how fast you move, how close you are to mass. You breathe again, long and slow. And as you do, your own sense of time stretches with it. Imagine a beam of light trying to escape, racing outward, but curling back inward. Not because it chooses to, but because space has curved. You can see it now. The paths of photons, spiraling near the edge, bending into perfect rings. Some of them caught, spinning endlessly, neither escaping nor falling, trapped light, forming what physicists call the photon sphere. A ring, not of fire, but of light held in orbit. You float near this glowing halo, watching it shimmer. There's something soft and beautiful in that, isn't there? That even near silence, light can linger. You let yourself drift in that orbit. The black hole spins beneath you. Most of them do, and its spin twists the very fabric of space like stirring thick honey with a spoon. Time itself begins to twist. You don't need to understand the math. Just feel the rhythm, a spiraling pull, a soft turning of reality. Here, you could watch the entire future of the universe unfold. Stretch as you think now about what falls in. Matter, light, stars. They don't crash or blink, they simply continue. But we can't see that part. We only see the approach, the slowing, the fading. Beyond the horizon, we cannot know. And that mystery is not frightening, it is humbling. You rest beside it, not asking for more, only watching, only being. This black hole could be small, or the mass of 3 suns or 3 million. Some live at the centers of galaxies, even our own, and each carries this same boundary, this same quiet veil. A place where time curves, where space folds, where falling becomes something different, and you wonder, what if you drop something in? A pebble, a beam of light, a single idea. From here you'd see it stretch, slow, dim, and vanish. You'd never see it cross the line. That part is hidden, not by magic, but by the fabric of reality itself. As if the cosmos quietly whispered, this far and no further, and so you remain, floating near the edge, not reaching in, just witnessing. The event horizon curves below, soft, invisible, not a surface, but a consequence. Still it calls, not with words, not with sound, just with being. It does not need to ask, it does not need to move. It simply is. And in that isness, you feel peace. Because even the most powerful presence in the universe has limits, has an edge, and beyond that edge, light cannot return. But here, just outside it, you remain. And the questions you carry, they drift outward. Maybe that's the secret. Maybe that's the purpose. That near the place where everything falls inward, you learn to look outward. You begin to drift again. Not away, just slowly around, still near, still present. Because soon, we'll follow the shape of gravity more deeply. Not just in space, but in the very structure of what's real. You are still here, at the edge, near the soft curve of the event horizon, where time tilts, where space sighs inward, where everything, even light, must choose to bend. Not only space, but time itself bends here. And that's not just metaphor, it's real, measured, predicted, confirmed. Time moves more slowly for you here than it does for someone far away. The closer you drift toward the event horizon, the more stretched each second becomes. Imagine you carry a small watch. Its second hand ticks in rhythm with your breath, steady and familiar. But someone watching you from far away would see those ticks slowing down, lagging behind their own. You wouldn't notice. To you, everything feels normal, but to them, every motion you make would stretch out, slowed like honey falling from a spoon. And if you stood right at the edge and looked outward, you'd see the universe speeding ahead, galaxies turning, stars shifting, entire lifetimes playing out in what to you would feel like a moment. Because your time has become untied from theirs. You rest now in that difference. Breathe in, hold, breathe out. Even that breath seems deeper than before. Each inhale opens something wider inside you. Here, time is no longer a line. It is a landscape. Curved hills, sharp drops, gentle stretches, and gravity reshapes that landscape all around you. Picture a rubber sheet stretched tight, pressed down by something heavy. The dip alters paths, changes motion, But here, the dip curves time too. And that means the rules don't break, they change. You begin to wonder, what would it feel like to live here? To build a home near a black hole? To raise your hand, knowing someone far away might not see it rise for hours? What would it mean for love, for memory, for grief? These questions float across your thoughts, not looking for answers, only for space. Time here doesn't just slow, it deepens. You're not just moving through it, you're falling with it, spiraling into the shape time makes around the black hole. And one day, maybe long from now, someone or something might fall fully across the horizon, past the point of no return. For them, time would feel unchanged. They would keep moving forward. But to us, from the outside, they would appear frozen, paused forever at the edge. A gentle paradox, not a contradiction. A reminder that reality is flexible depending on where you stand. The rules curve, but they do not collapse. Even light slows down here. The fastest thing in the universe is stretched by gravity. Its waves grow longer. Its color changes. Blue becomes red. Red fades to invisible. This is redshift, and it's a clue. A sign. It means the space around you is folding. Time is leaning, and you are no longer where you began. You feel it not in your bones, but in your breath. A stillness so rich it feels like motion. A pause so deep it feels like music. You're floating inside curved time now, and your mind softens with it. Your thoughts slow, not out of tiredness, but in rhythm with the world around you. Even your memories seem slower. They unfold like flowers in moonlight, one petal at a time, and you realize you're in a kind of forever. Not because it never ends, but because every moment is full. You wonder, does time ever stop entirely? Could there be a place, perhaps at the center, where no clocks ever tick? Maybe yes, or maybe that question stops being useful. Inside the singularity, if such a place exists, space and time lose shape. But out here, just beyond the edge, they're not erased, they're rewritten. You're drifting like a satellite in slow orbit, not around a thing but around an idea. The black hole stays behind you, and you watch the universe run forward past your window. You could linger in this second for what feels like days. But far away, everything continues. Stars live and die, planets spin, light travels, and someone somewhere ticks seconds off a watch that moves faster than yours. Time is not absolute, it's local, personal. Once you've felt that, really felt it, you carry time differently, not as
pressure, but as presence. You stop rushing, you start noticing, you begin to see how much one moment can hold. That silence can stretch like an ocean, that stillness can carry meaning. That's the gift of this place. A black hole teaches you to stretch time, not by racing through it, but by being in it fully, here, now, present. You begin to drift slightly away from the edge, just enough to feel time's pull soften, the seconds ease back into even rhythm. But something inside you remains different. You've touched time's shape. And now you understand. It doesn't just pass. It bends, it deepens, it holds. You carry that knowing with you into the next silence, the next question. Beyond time lies something else. Memory, echo, remains. What's left behind when the light goes out? You drift gently now. The black hole behind you, still turning, still humming its soft, invisible weight. Time returns to a familiar flow, or something close to it, but your breath still carries the stretch. And in this new quiet, you begin to notice something else. The black hole is not alone. It is surrounded by threads, traces, dust, leftovers, echoes of the star that once was. Because when a massive star dies, it does not vanish. It transforms, and before the black hole is born, it releases more than light. It gives back elements, material, matter. You float through that now, dust lit by distant stars, glimmering across the dark like the ashes of something sacred. These ashes are not simple, they're heavy, they're complex, they're full of stories. In the supernova, in that final fire, the pressures were so great that elements heavier than iron were forged, gold, platinum, uranium. These are not ordinary creations. They are born in rare, violent ends. And now they drift through space, waiting to be used again. You wonder, how far do these echoes reach? The answer is, across light years, across galaxies, supernova remnants expand for decades, centuries, spreading richness across the void. You drift through one now. The atoms that once lit up a sun now hold your thoughts. They sit in your fingertips, they move in your chest. You are the echo of fire and the start of something else. You drift past fragments now,
Iron, carbon, gas, the beginnings of chemistry, the roots of biology, the early notes of memory. Even time carries ripples. Gravitational waves ripple outward from collapse, bending space as they go. You can't feel them, but Earth can. Scientists have built instruments so sensitive they can detect these gentle distortions. These waves are real, proof that something remains, even after light is gone. You think about that. The things that remain. A voice, a scent, a warmth in a room that's long gone cold. The universe holds those too. It remembers, it carries echoes. Black holes, for all their silence, are part of that memory. They do not erase, they store, they curve. Around you, stars are beginning again, forming in the quiet, gathering gas and dust, finding heat. You breathe, the galaxy breathes. Birth, fire, collapse, dust, and birth again. It's not a straight path. It's a cycle, a breath, a turning wheel. Black holes are not the end. They are the pause, the hush before the next song begins. You breathe in and out. Inhale, exhale, quiet between. Your body mirrors the galaxy. You are not a guest here. You are part of this pattern. You are made of its light. You drift through new stars forming from old dust. There is no urgency, no rush. They will take time, and so will you. You are here not to answer, but to witness, and you understand now. Nothing is lost. Energy moves, matter transforms, but echoes endure. A star dies, a black hole forms, dust becomes light, and the galaxy once again begins to bloom. You are made of that bloom. You are made of its memory, and you carry it forward. It stretches time and redraws the boundary between space and whatever lies beyond it. The faster a black hole spins, the tighter its event horizon becomes, pulling that edge inward like a thread wound too tight. Rotation becomes resistance, the horizon shrinks, and just beyond that rim you float. Not falling, not fleeing, simply present. The spin holds you steady, like a rhythm played just for you. And you wonder, does a black hole remember the spin of the star it came from? Was this
Motion inherited or born anew? It doesn't matter. The spiral is enough. There is peace in turning, no start, no stop, only movement. Like a lullaby sung without voice, a dream that never opens its eyes. You circle the black hole gently, feeling your thoughts align with its pace. Inhale, the disk shimmers. Exhale, the orbit hums again. Time softens, space folds inward. You become not a visitor, but part of its motion. Black holes don't only devour, they coordinate, they choreograph, they turn chaos into form. Their spiral is not a warning, it's an invitation, and as you drift outward, the spin recedes behind you, not gone, only hushed. The galaxy surrounds you now, wide with stars, disks, and echoes of other turning giants, and you begin to wonder, what happens when two such spirals meet? Do they circle in curiosity or tumble in slow embrace? Ahead of you, beyond the dust and time, two black holes are already answering. They are not colliding. They are dancing, not fast, not frantic, but with the grace of patience. You feel their draw but remain free. They've circled each other for eons, these two remnants of collapsed suns. Now they orbit closer than before. Imagine skaters on silent ice, drawn inward, inch by inch. They trace ellipses that curve tighter with every pass, learning each other's gravity. And with each turn, they lose just a fraction of energy. Not in heat, not in sound, but in ripples. Space itself carries those ripples away as gravitational waves. You can't see them, but if you're quiet enough, you can feel them. A gentle stretch, a fleeting squeeze. Space wavers for a moment as those waves pass through. Back on Earth, we listen. We build detectors like LIGO and Virgo, vast lasers balanced across long tunnels, hoping to catch the faintest tremor in space-time. And when two black holes spiral close, their union plays a song Earth can hear. You hear it now, not a roar, not a crash, but an accelerating rhythm. Their orbit tightens, time deepens. They circle each other dozens of times per second. Mass moves at half the speed of light. You hover just above the plane of their spiral. They aren't dangerous here. They are magnificent. And what comes next is not destruction. It is convergence. They merge, not in fire, not in light, but in pure gravity. Their final motion creates a wave, a curve in space itself. That wave moves through you, reshaping the space you inhabit, not pushing but folding. It passes, and silence returns. Two have become one, heavier, rounder, smoother.
The new black hole pulses once like a bell made of geometry, then quiets. You float near it. The memory of that spin still lingers in your breath. You have just seen gravity sing, a courtship written in motion, a finale that echoes without light. You think now of your own orbits, the people whose gravity changed yours, whose closeness curved your path, whose presence lingered. In this union, the black
Hole spins differently now, altered by what it once was. Part of its mass has become a message, a ripple moving through the universe. Nothing is wasted, all is shared. And now gently you drift outward. Behind you the gravity softens, ahead the galaxy stretches wide. You carry the hush, the rhythm, the shape of the story, because this joining is not rare. Black holes are out there, circling, merging, retelling this silent poem across time, and you wonder, what comes after the merger? Does the quiet deepen? Or do the waves continue forever? You float now in the soft stillness after the storm. The two have become one. No flames, no shout, only motion resolved. But the story is not finished. You still feel it. Not as a pull, not as light, but as a tension in the structure around you. The black hole has sent something, gravitational waves. They don't ride wind or water. They ripple through space-time itself. The universe sways and releases. You drift on that wave, not away but within. It does not rush. It carries you like breath carries sound. This is not a wave that crashes. It enfolds all things gently. It does not disturb, it reveals. You float with it, slow, steady, up, down, stretch, return. Not lost, not separate. You pass through a star system. The wave bends the distance between planets by less than a proton. Nothing moves, but everything is touched. The cosmos remembers, and so do you. Because each wave is a message, a whisper of mass, of motion, of union. Earth listens with mirrors and beams, instruments so still they wait years for one tremble. And one day we heard it, a ripple that began 1 billion years ago. 2 black holes merged, and we caught their echo. You float with that thought. Earth, small, cloud-wrapped, caught that signal like a fingertip brushing the surface of time. And suddenly the universe told us a story, not of light, but of form. Each ripple, a page, each wave, a line. And now you are drifting through that cosmic song. Stretch, inhale. Squeeze, exhale. You are inside the rhythm. It doesn't shout, it lingers. These waves do not end quickly. They are patient. They remember. Each is a fingerprint, no two the same, a galactic signature left behind. You picture a library now, shelves not of books, but of waves, not read but felt, a hum of ancient unions, the gravitational wave background, a harmony of mergers, unending. You are wrapped in that music now. It doesn't claim you, it holds you, and it tells you things. Age, mass, motion, clean messages, unscattered, unfaded. Light can lose its way. Gravity does not. You breathe again. The ripple moves through you. You breathe out, and you think of your own ripples, the effects you've sent without knowing. The gestures, the words, the echoes. Maybe the universe listens too. Maybe our lives leave signatures behind, just as black holes do. Without light, without sound, only gravity, and you smile at that, because now, somewhere a galaxy turns, you rest in its story. A black hole merger so distant its light has faded to silence, but its ripple still travels through space, a whisper crossing time. In 100 million years it will arrive not to you, but to someone else, maybe another being, maybe another version of you. They'll feel it pass, and in that moment know something happened long ago in a galaxy that may no longer shine. And still they'll feel connected to gravity, to silence, to stars, to memory. You return to the ripple near you now. It fades. Another follows. No rush, just rhythm. On Earth, detectors rest in open fields, laser beams stretched in wait, always listening. And now you listen too, not to hear something specific, but to be present. You are not searching. You are sensing. A vessel, a witness. Because the universe doesn't shout, it hums. And in that hum, over and over again, not in flame, not in flash, but in soft changes of space, you drift in that lull. The wave becomes smaller, then still. And in that stillness, you carry something new, a realization that the universe is never truly still, that quiet is not empty, that even in the most silent dark, there are conversations unfolding between gravity and time, between memory and space. You rest inside that exchange now, somewhere between silence and sound, between knowing and wondering. A question forms, not sharply but gently. What else lies within a black hole? What happens not around it, but inside? You've hovered near them, circled their spirals, watched them merge, listened to their echoes. But now, for the first time, you drift closer to the horizon itself. This is not a fall, it's a glide. You are not pulled in, you choose to approach, because some questions can only be touched by entering. The event horizon welcomes you. It doesn't push back, it allows. You pass through, quietly, completely. And inside doesn't feel like a room or a space. It feels like motion, like geometry folding inward. You feel no change, no break. From an outside perspective, you never enter. You freeze at the edge, but from your view you continue. Time changes. It doesn't end, it narrows, it channels. Everything leads not just in, but forward, toward a place with no clear shape. You don't see the singularity. No one does. It isn't a hidden object. It is an undefined place where gravity becomes infinite, where time and space fold into each other and the rules of the universe soften. And yet, here, it's not frightening. It's calm. It feels like the heart of thought, a silence that listens back. You wonder, is the singularity a thing or a transformation? Is it the final page or the first word? Some scientists imagine that inside might be a bridge, a passage to another universe, another place, another version of space, a wormhole, a door. You don't need the answer. The idea is enough. Because here you don't feel lost. You feel held. Inside the black hole, all motion is inward. There is no path back.
You're not retreating, you're exploring. And if you could speak here, what would you say? If it could speak back, what would it tell you? Perhaps stories of its star long gone, perhaps the rhythm of time unwinding, or perhaps nothing, and that would still be enough. You float deeper, not toward danger, but toward density, toward meaning pressed tighter than sound. Imagine compressing a lifetime into a moment, a galaxy into a whisper. That is what this feels like. All mass reduced to gravity, all complexity held in curve. It does not feel hollow, it feels full. You think now of the beginning, of the Big Bang. Was it a singularity too? A place not of collapse, but of blooming. Maybe every ending remembers a beginning. Maybe black holes cradle unborn universes. You let the thought flow through you like a tide. You don't need it to resolve, just to ripple, because even here, inside what most call void, you sense presence, a thick potential, a quiet waiting. You begin to feel it is not an end, but a pause between notes. Not an absence, but a readiness. And gravity holds it, not tightly, not violently, just surely. You realize black holes don't erase, they preserve. Every photon, every fragment, every atom that crosses the horizon becomes part of something denser. The information may be hidden, but it is not lost. Some believe the event horizon itself holds that record, that the boundary remembers, that its surface is not a blur but a ledger. You think now of your own memory. Not as facts, but as gravity, the weight of your experience pulling inward, giving shape to who you are. You are like a black hole in that way, not in darkness, but in depth. You drift deeper still, not toward an end, but toward understanding. The singularity is near, not seen, but felt, like the bottom of a breath, the moment before something begins again. You hover there, in stillness. There is nothing else to reach, and yet you wonder, what happens if even the singularity fades, if it too can vanish? And here you find a voice not inside the black hole, but beside its silence. It's Stephen Hawking, the physicist who peered into the dark with his mind and found a glow, who asked not how to escape black holes, but how to understand them. And in 1974, from a wheelchair in Cambridge, he suggested something profound, that black holes might not last forever, that they might evaporate, not in a flash, not in fire, but in a long, slow release. You pause inside that idea. It's not an explosion, it's a sigh. Hawking brought together two worlds, gravity and quantum physics, and imagined the vacuum not as empty but alive, particle pairs forming briefly, one falling in, one escaping, the black hole losing the smallest bit of energy, a trickle so faint it takes longer than the age of the universe to matter, but still it matters. This gentle escape is now called Hawking radiation. You drift beside it, a breath of quantum possibility leaking from a place thought silent, and as the black hole shrinks, its temperature rises, until perhaps one day in the farthest future, it fades completely, vanishes, not with a scream, but with a whisper. You hover now in that span of time, not millions of years, not billions, but trillions. Time stretched so far it becomes stillness. And in that stillness, the question returns, where does everything go? The stars it swallowed, the photons, the data, the memory. If the black hole vanishes, what remains? This is the paradox. If information can't be lost, then where is it? Is it woven into the radiation, etched into space? Scientists call this the information paradox. And you rest in it, not to solve, but to feel its shape. Imagine writing a letter and burning it. The paper is gone, but the ash, the smoke, the heat hold its ghost. Perhaps black holes do the same. Not delete, but scatter. Some believe the event horizon stores the pattern, that its surface is a memory, a boundary with voice. This is the holographic principle, that the inside of space can be described by what's on the outside. You sit with that image now, a skin remembering everything it held, like your own body holding years, like bark telling the age of trees. You wonder, could the entire universe be a memory? Not stored in words, but in shape and spin and gravity? You don't need proof, only pause, because even a paradox can be a quiet place to rest. You move gently now between two truths. Quantum mechanics insists nothing is ever lost. General relativity says some things cannot return, and you drift between them like a thread held in tension, a soft question forming between two firm beliefs. Some believe one day we'll find a theory that unites them both, that speaks both light and mass, both silence and spin, a theory of everything. But you don't need everything. You need only this moment of wonder, this chance to feel the universe keeping secrets not cruelly but carefully. Maybe information is not gone. Maybe we haven't yet learned how to read it. Maybe space is a page, radiation a sentence, gravity a rhythm. Maybe we too are written, and memory is not about holding every detail but preserving what matters. You forget names but remember laughter. You lose maps but carry direction. The black hole might be doing the same, reshaping, not erasing, like water melting ice, like grief becoming song. You move now through the final folds of the paradox, not solved, but softened. Some questions are not locks, they are windows, and through them we glimpse a universe that forgets nothing, but hides what it knows. You turn outward now, toward galaxies where these black holes live, toward dust and light and endings that became beginnings. You wonder, if the universe remembers stars and mergers and collapse, what does it remember of you? You drift away from the singular, toward the many. Silence expands, not emptiness, abundance, because black holes are not rare. They are everywhere, some small and quiet, others massive and old, each waiting, not to be feared, but to be found. You float among them now, between shadows that cast no light but move the world around them. They don't shine. They shape. You see them in stars that spin, in light that bends, in the curved silence between brightness. They speak not in display but in presence. They are gravity's most elegant word. You drift now through a quiet galaxy, not so different from the Milky Way stars, scattered like soft thoughts glowing across the dark, each one held in its own gravity, each one moving slowly over spans of millions of years. And near the center, not chaos, not light, but a black hole, supermassive, silent, unseen. It doesn't consume everything. It touches. Instead, it waits, gently sculpting the paths of stars, holding the galaxy like a patient center, not demanding, just present. Even Earth's galaxy holds one like this, Sagittarius A, invisible behind dust, but unmistakably real. Stars race around it in elegant speed, not madness, but dance, and you float above those spiral arms, through clouds where stars are born, past light that began its journey long before humanity knew how to watch. And then stillness. Not absence, just stillness that bends things. Softly at the heart sits the black hole like a stone in a vast pond, too heavy to move, yet part of every ripple in the water's shape. You pass through other galaxies too, each one with its own hidden center. A shadow, not dark, but defining, because where there's gravity, there's form, and where there's form, there's always a center. Sometimes that center is light, and sometimes it's not. Black holes are not intrusions. They are balance. They are memory. They are how the universe remembers where things used to burn. you begin to understand. They are not rare, not mistakes, not threats, but quiet outcomes of stellar lives. Each black hole, the memory of a star that once gave its fire, now collapsed, waiting quietly, but still exerting shape, still holding rhythm. And some are small, some vast. Millions may live within this one galaxy alone. And you pass near one, now, small, quiet, formed from a massive star that died, not loudly but deeply, a stellar mass black hole. Its core collapsed into silence, and its presence remains, like a breath waiting to be taken. You don't see it, but you feel it. A soft pressure in space, a curvature in thought, a gravity your bones somehow remember, because you are made of stars, and stars, given enough time, become black holes too, and you float onward, past the quiet swirling of unseen giants, and you begin to see it. The universe is not just light, but pattern. Galaxies stretch like veins across a cosmic body, each threaded with dark centers, holding the pulse. They are not gaps, they are anchors, not voids, but gravity's memories, not erasure, but structure. And you rest inside that idea. Space is not only distance, it is intention. Black holes are not endings, they are part of the design, and so is waiting, so is silence, so is stillness. You inhale deeply, not through lungs.
Begin to think about your own center. What quiet truths shape your path? What invisible pulls curve your orbit? What memory inside you holds everything in balance, not as burden, but as meaning? What do you carry quietly that still bends your life? And you float now among millions of silent centers. They do not shout, but they do not need to. They shape, they wait, and you rest among them in a universe of wholes, feeling wholly held. Perhaps you've always thought of black holes as distant things, unreachable shadows in galaxies you'll never see. But tonight, you discover they're closer than you know, not just in space, but in time, in life, in the tools you use every day. Gravity's story is folded into your hands. Your maps, your clocks, your breath, your phone, for instance. Inside it, a quiet signal pings. Satellites above Earth, part of a global network, GPS, and each satellite carries a clock, and those clocks tick just a little faster than the ones on Earth. Why? Because they float farther from gravity, and gravity bends time. You've heard this before as poetry, but here it's measurable. Nanoseconds added up until they matter, and without correction, the GPS would drift. Your map would lose its place, but we've learned how to listen, how to correct for gravity's curve, and now that correction lives in your pocket. It's the theory of general relativity, the soft math whispered by Einstein a century ago, proven by black holes, confirmed by the way space curves, and you live in that curve. Whether you look up or not, walking through your day, satellites above you, clocks running slightly faster than your watch, because they float, and you don't, and gravity curves time enough to matter. And black holes helped us learn that by bending light, by stirring stars, by merging and singing in gravitational waves. They confirm space and time are not rigid. They flow, and you live inside that flow. A cup of tea cools more slowly at altitude. Your cells age slightly faster on mountaintops. Every moment of your body shaped by the bend of gravity, and black holes are that bend's deepest truth. They are not just mystery, they are measurement, they are instruction, they are tools. They have taught us how gravity works, not only by pulling, but by stretching time, by hiding light, by revealing the invisible. And you carry their teaching, not in books, but in your breath, in your devices, in the quiet, regular beat of time itself. Your images, your location, your digital life relies on curved space, not just metaphor, but real structure, crafted by minds that once looked into the dark and wondered, and now here you are, lying quietly on a planet, orbiting a star that orbits a black hole. Every breath, a movement in that structure. You don't need to travel to be part of it. You're already within it, already spinning through a pattern. Galaxies have followed for billions of years. And gravity is not a force, but a shape, a bending, a deep fold, and that lesson lives on in everything synchronized and timed in every heartbeat of our modern world. Black holes are not waiting to devour, they've already touched the future, they've already reached you, not with fear, but with form, and you breathe, thinking about what else you carry, not just tools, but truths. The legacy of quiet questions asked by those who looked into the night and believed that even silence could be full of meaning. And here you are now on Earth, a tiny spinning surface orbiting a star inside a galaxy that spirals around its own black hole. Sagittarius A, a center hidden behind dust but always there, holding the shape, not loudly, just steadily, not chasing, just existing. And you think how that shape began. Did it grow by feeding on stars? Or was it born large part of the galaxy's first whisper? We don't know. And perhaps we don't need to. Some centers don't explain themselves, they hold space instead. And you think about your own center, your quiet gravity, your still place beneath the noise. Maybe that's what the galactic core teaches us, not power, not drama, but presence. Not sound, but balance, not control, but anchoring. You let that thought settle like light on still water. What is the unseen truth that holds your orbit? The thing you return to without noticing the shape that lets your world turn. You hover now, just above a galactic heart, stars buzzing like fireflies, gas swirling like breath. The black hole itself remains unseen, but its mark is everywhere. The galaxy does not unravel because that center remains, and the stars do not resist, they turn with grace, and you turn too, part of that quiet rhythm, not an intruder, but a participant. You may never visit the core in body, but your awareness is enough, and you now understand the universe is made of centers, moons to planets, planets to stars, stars to galaxies, galaxies to black holes, and you orbit too, not randomly, but as part of something beautifully bound. You close your eyes and the stars continue to move. You don't need to watch them. You only need to feel the turning, because even when all is still, motion continues. Even in silence, there is structure. Even in darkness, there is direction. And you, resting now, gentle breath, slow heartbeat, soft mind, you are already at the center of your own becoming. You drift now not toward a black hole, not toward a galaxy, but toward a different space, one not marked by distance but by wondering. A threshold of thought, not place, not edge, but feeling. You have walked through stars, merged into spirals, touched the surface of singularity, and listened to time's softest waves, and now you find yourself where maps end, not in fear, but in curiosity. This is where science quiets, where models soften, where theories arrive and pause, not because they failed, but because they reached the threshold. And that threshold is not a wall, it is a beginning, and you pause beside it, and you breathe. This is where the questions live. Not sharp, but soft. What happens truly at a singularity? Can time reverse? Can gravity and quantum theory hold hands? Do black holes dream of birth? No answer needed tonight. Only the wonder, only the silence that holds the question. And you think now of your own life, the things you've not yet understood, choices you've made without knowing, feelings you couldn't name, truths still forming, and yet these are your gravity. They deepen you. They pull you inward. You are made of unknowns. And that is not flaw, it is beauty. You are a galaxy, still unfolding. And black holes taught you how to rest in the dark. It is a feature, not a flaw. A galaxy doesn't need to be fully mapped to be beautiful. A life doesn't need to be fully explained to be whole. You hover now at the soft edge of knowing, and you let yourself wonder, not to solve, but to feel what lies beyond this boundary. What is time when there are no clocks? What is space without an edge? And if the universe began in a singularity, what came before, or was before, even a word at all? These are not puzzles to complete, they are invitations to breathe, to open, because these questions are sacred, not because they have answers, but because they awaken something in us. They remind us that being alive means dwelling in uncertainty, that growth requires mystery, that knowing everything might mean we stop becoming. You let that truth expand in your chest like a quiet universe. The unknown is not empty, it is spacious, a resting place for thought, a beginning for dreams, a birthplace for physics and poetry and hope. You're not here to conquer the dark. You're here to sit beside it and say, yes, I do not know. And that is okay, because in this space, wonder is born. Equations begin, minds are moved, and stories like this one take root. Even Einstein, even Hawking, even the great thinkers had to pause at the edge, not because they lacked tools, but because they saw beauty in the unanswered. You float beside them now,
not as a follower, but as a fellow explorer, all of us barefoot on the shore of a vast ocean, toes in the tide, stars above us and wind whispering questions we cannot yet name. You rest there, open, gentle, suspended between confusion and clarity, and you realize this is the most honest place to be, not clinging to certainty, not lost in doubt, but hovering in the quiet between. This is what it means to be human, to look up and not away, to ask, to listen, to let wonder be enough. You've come far tonight, not across distance but into depth. And now, as you lie still beneath ceiling, beneath cloud, beneath stars, you carry a constellation of questions inside you. They are not burdens, they are lanterns, each one a soft light guiding you toward tomorrow's curiosity. And still beyond them lies more, because beyond mystery lies connection. The more we look outward, the more we glimpse inward. You've drifted through galaxies, circled black holes, rested at the edge of knowing, and now your path bends inward toward a simple and profound truth. You are made of stars, not as a metaphor, not as poetry, but as scientific fact. The atoms in your skin, your breath, your bones, your thoughts were forged in the hearts of stars that no longer shine. You begin with hydrogen, the most ancient element, born not in stars, but in the Big Bang, nearly 14 billion years ago. Hydrogen is simple but powerful, the first light of the cosmos, and it lives now in your breath, in your blood, in your being. Then comes helium, a trace of starlight from the earliest furnaces. But the heavier elements, the ones that shape your voice, your memory, your muscles, they were not made quietly. They were born in fire, in fusion, in the collapsing core of dying stars. Carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, calcium, iron. These are your materials, and they came from supernova, brilliant endings that scattered seeds across space, and gravity gathered them, slowly, patiently, until somehow they formed you. You are stardust, learning to breathe, to wonder, to dream. You rest in that knowing, not to rise above, but to root deeper, because if you are made of stars, so is everyone, so is everything. We are versions of the same story, the same light rearranged. You think now of your blood carrying iron, the same element that rusts, that builds the cores of planets, that binds oxygen to life. Iron is the last gift of stars, made only in their death. And here it is, in you, moving with each beat, a quiet inheritance from something vast and ancient. You think of your bones, full of calcium, stellar ash, once radiant now, supporting your sleep, your steps, your smile, your breath filled with oxygen, born in stars, your brain wired by carbon, their final creation. You are not outside the cosmos. You are the cosmos, aware of itself, breathing, thinking, feeling. You float now, not through galaxies, but through yourself, through the cathedral of cells and atoms inside you, each one a traveler, each one with a story, older than time, gathered for this brief, beautiful moment to be you, not forever, but for now. And that is enough. You think now of your hands, their warmth, their kindness, their capacity to hold dust and create meaning. You think of your voice, carrying laughter or silence, both sacred, shaped by molecules that once glowed. You begin to see there is no true divide between you and space. You are not small, not separate. You are a thread in its tapestry, a rhythm in its breath, a firefly in its night. And when you forget, as we all do, you can return to this stillness, to this knowing, to this starlit truth. You are already home. The universe is within you, in your pulse, your dreams, the pause between thoughts. And as you rest tonight, you carry the whole journey inside you, the light, the time, the unfolding that began at the first spark and traveled across billions of years to become you, listening, becoming still. Time is not just forward, it is inward. It passes through you, moves around you, breathes with you. You are not beside time, you are made of it. Each breath a tick, each heartbeat a hum. You begin to drift deeper now into the steady, every inhale a whisper, every exhale a memory. Your heart beats, not by command, but by memory. It started long ago and it will continue until it no longer must. Beneath that pulse, deeper rhythms unfold. Your cells divide, your atoms align,
Your biology dances a quiet choreography written in ancient light, shaped by the rising sun, by the tilt of earth, by the glow of the moon. Your body listens still to these rhythms. You sleep when night falls. Your hormones rise with morning. Your thoughts follow the shadows. This is circadian rhythm, the dance of your biology, with the sky. But deeper still are the clocks born in stars. Radioactive isotopes ticking, not with sound but with change, used by scientists to measure the age of fossils, of planets, of the cosmos itself. And some of those atoms live in you, now pulsing with memory, holding time with precision, changing shape from matter into energy, from now into later. You are not outside these rhythms. You are a vessel for them. Time does not only pass. It forms you, sustains you, teaches you. Your breath slows, your body settles, your thoughts begin to soften. And behind that softening is time, remembering every hour, every healing, every change. Time does not forget it carries, and you begin to think wider. The time inside a tree, the slow rings, the seasons held in wood, the time inside a glacier, moving so gently, it appears still, the time inside starlight, traveling across galaxies to reach your eye tonight. Time is not only a line, it is a spiral, a tide, a breath, and you are part of that breath. Not hurried, not behind, simply here. Time is not running away, it moves with you. You lie still. The weight of blankets, the hush of darkness, the curve of your own rhythm, and you feel it. Deep, time inside you, connecting past to present, particle to poem, history to hope. You think of your years lived and those to come, but also of the eternal, the starlight, the drift, the slow song of the cosmos, and you realize time is not your enemy. It is your companion, your echo, your dance partner. You rest in that now, not chasing time, not resisting it, just letting it hold you, letting it flow. And as it flows, you drift into the longest time past, the stars, past thought, into the slowest, most distant future, not the tomorrow of calendars, but the final eventuality, the soft fading of everything. The stars age, burn out, collapse. Some flash brilliantly, others fade gently. Galaxies go quiet. No new stars are born. The night deepens, and even black holes remain, the final architects of gravity, silent and still, until they too release, until they dissolve. Hawking radiation slowly carries them away. The universe stretches, space thins, light loses its place. Darkness grows, but not with dread, with peace. This is not an end. It is a transformation, a cosmic sleep. Some call it the heat death, but even that is not final, because in silence there is memory.
Perhaps it will happen again, not as repetition, but as rhythm. You lie now at the edge of that imagining, and you let go, not of thought, but of urgency, because there is comfort in knowing that even the stars rest, even the cosmos sleeps, and so can you. You are made of the same material as dreams, and dust and planets and songs, and tonight you are calm, not lost, not hurried, just here resting in rhythm. Like the stars before you, you shine, and when it is time you rest, so close your eyes. Now let your breath join the deeper tide. Let your body remember it is of the stars. Let your mind soften and dissolve into the quiet that holds us all. You have traveled far from beginning to becoming, from light to silence, and now all that remains is sleep. You are safe, you are seen, you are stardust, part of the pattern shaped by gravity, rocked by time and ready, now to rest. Let the dark be soft, let the night be gentle, let the silence carry you home. Thank you for drifting with me tonight. If this journey brought you calm, I hope you'll return. Whenever the world feels too sharp, too loud, too fast, and if you'd like more quiet wonder, I'll be here with more stories, more stars, and more peace. So tap a soft like, subscribe gently, and share this space with anyone who needs stillness. And if you're still awake, don't worry, sleep is not a race. It's a return, and you're already almost there.